You mentioned earlier that your church was almost forced to stop meeting and be completely dismissed last year by the authorities. Have you or any of your church members been stopped from doing what you're doing now to serve the community?
Till this day, there's none. When we were doing this, we never met any government officials. They were always there before, but now they're gone. They're nowhere to be found. So we have not been stopped by anyone. When I posted the fasting and praying video on my WeChat and social platforms, several government departments have warned me, saying that our church cannot hold meetings to do fasting and praying. I asked them back, why couldn't we fast? They said, it's because they worry our immune system will be weakened by fasting, making us vulnerable to the virus. I said, thank you, sirs, for your concern and suggestions, but you cannot forbid us from doing it. You need to have a legal ground for prohibiting us from fasting and praying. If we break any laws or have violated any regulations, tell us. But if not, you can only give your suggestions, and we thank you for your concerns. And speaking of holding meetings, I told them, what do you mean by holding meetings? We were meeting with each other virtually online, and therefore the fasting and prayer were also conducted online. We didn't ask anyone to fast and pray in the same location. We just made an open appeal to let individuals do this on their own time, in their own ways. We didn't gather physically to pray, and there's no gathering at all. And they didn't give any further response beyond that. So we didn't pay too much attention to them either. Nevertheless, they indeed deleted the videos we posted on social media concerning fasting and pray. Apart from that, there's no other interference. And the police have called me a few times, saying we can't hold meetings or fast and pray. I told them the same thing, and they understood our situation. One policeman said, yes, we should all pray for Wuhan, and they know we're meeting online. But he said the higher authorities above him wouldn't understand, and that's it. So I think it's all right to pray. It's between us and God. No one can prohibit it. Just as Martin Luther once put it, God is the only one in charge of the human hearts. We're not confined by any secular rules. That's where we stand.
Have you seen any life transformations, stories you can share with us?
There are so many stories I can tell. They're all very touching. When our brothers and sisters met before this outbreak, even though they believe in God most of their life, they think somewhat it's just another religion. They attended the meeting out of a tradition. Many of them have not experienced God in their own hearts. And their experiences of God is not much. It's very limited. It's hard for them to imagine why we say God is a real and living God. But this outbreak has put everyone in this life and death situation. In face of the plague, they suddenly realize the value of life. They realize no matter how much power you have, how much money you have, you are still vulnerable to the virus. Materials cannot protect us from this outbreak. Many of our brothers and sisters realize that life is really beyond our grasp. It's God who is in charge of everything, and we're praying to God to keep us safe. So at this point, they're thinking more and more about the relationship between God, who gives us life, the meaning, and the eternity. During this process, many of them have told our pastors their life has been greatly touched and transformed. In the future, they want to witness for God more and make their life more meaningful. They shouldn't value too much of their work, their families, their possession. For example, one of the sisters, she got the coronavirus, and also 6 people in her family were also infected. For a while, she was in a very bad critical condition. Although she was not a confirmed case, but we are pretty sure she has the disease because we have a few medical experts in our church. We confirm that she has been infected with the virus. When she was at her last gasp, when her condition got so worse, she told us that she was almost feeling about to die. She thought she's going to die at any given time, and all she could think about was to tell her parents and the 4 other family members who were also infected. She said, she recalled, she was on her knees, confessing before her family members, telling them, you must know God, you must believe in Him. She said, I could die. No one can escape the circle of life. But during what she thought were her last moments, she wanted to say to her loved ones was to believe in God, who is in the true charge of life. I was very moved when I heard her story. I think in times like this, she did not talk about whom to take care of her children, that kind of family errands, or the password to her bank accounts. The very things we're concerned about is salvation, the source of life. Things like that happen a lot around my church. Many of our brothers and sisters have shared their stories.